He lost everything, but then found her, where no human should survive. A barren land under a pale purple sky, filled with iron dust. Radioactive rain fell slowly, each drop lighting up the ground in a strange glow. The crackling echoed like broken memories from a corrupted database. In the middle of the wreckage stood a small shelter built from old spaceship scraps. Inside, a faint light flickered from an old air filter, trembling like the last breath of a dying world. JAK-17, a lone man in a thick leather coat, holding a wrench and an air mask. His face was marked by years of survival, but his eyes still held a spark, as if waiting for a reason to go on. He was checking the filter core. The machine buzzed softly. Outside, the storm kept falling. Then a soft alert from the scanner, not a threat, a heartbeat, weak but still alive. He rushed out, pushing through the thermal door. A dim green light beamed from his wrist scanner, sweeping across the irradiated ground. There, a fragile figure, motionless in a glowing puddle. Wet hair, pale skin, no ID chip, no biometric code, just a girl. Jack knelt down without hesitation. He wrapped her in a radiation-proof blanket, shielding her from the rain that hissed and cracked against the fabric. He whispered to himself, "Who are you? How are you even alive out here?" He carried her through the glowing storm. Each step left a faint scorch mark on the iron-soaked soil. His HUD blinked, radiation level, low with intolerance. Back inside, he laid her on the metal bed, covered her with a thermal sheet, placed an oxygen mask near her lips. She said nothing, just opened her eyes and looked at him. No fear, no confusion, just an expression too still to belong to any human. "I've survived wars, station fires." The sun rose behind a layer of radioactive clouds. Dim, cold, but just enough light to reveal her silhouette. She was now awake, sitting quietly by the CO2 control panel. She didn't ask, didn't wait. She simply removed each cover plate, one by one, wiping the clogged ducts with a piece of water filter cloth. Jack stood a few steps away. Stunned, every move she made was precise, fast, without hesitation. Like she had lived in this station long before he ever did. She knelt by the air filter, using old wire to reconnect the circuit with her bare hands. No tools, no instructions, yet the airflow slowly stabilized. Jack stepped closer. His voice was low. "Where did you learn all this?" She didn't look up. Her voice was barely a whisper, from a place where names don't matter. That night, Jack tried to replace the pump core. His hand slipped. A sharp pain shot through his left shoulder, the same one he injured during the explosion at the research station. She walked over, calmly, gently placed her hand on his shoulder. The background faded into silence. A close-up. Her palm glowed with a faint blue light, like a soft current of warmth passing through his muscle. The pain disappeared. Jack pulled away. Shocked. What did you just do?" She looked at him without blinking. "You were hurting. I could feel that." Later that night, Jack sat alone in the dark, watching her asleep at the workstation after checking the entire filtration system. He whispered to himself, "She's not a victim. What is she?" By morning, when Jack woke up, he found a cup of warm water beside his bed. One side of the shelter door had been reinforced with scrap alloy. She had done it while he slept. No one told her to, no one asked. She just did it. She never asked to be saved, never cried, never begged. She came in silence. He saw her under radiation, unchanged, late at night. The filtration station lay still. Wind whispered through rotting alloy panels. Rain fell, not wet, but glowing with flickers of violet and green. It was radioactive rain, the kind that had burned entire Outzone settlements to dust in just hours. Jack woke up to a faint sound. He looked outside and saw her. She was standing in the rain, no hood, no protection, just standing there. Face turned upward, as if listening to something no one else could hear. Drops fell against her skin, but there were no burns, no chemical reaction, no wounds, just silence. She turned and looked at him. Jack couldn't believe his eyes. "What are you?" She stepped closer. Her eyes reflected the dim station light. Just someone who doesn't belong here. There was no panic, no system alarm, no defensive move from her, only a stillness. A calm, as if that answer was enough. Jack didn't step back. He didn't call the system, didn't ask more questions. He just turned, walked inside, and left the door open. She followed him minutes later, said nothing. But from that night on, the door was never locked again. The next morning, while working on the station's panel, Jack noticed a small drawing scratched into the recycled metal wall. Crude lines. A man standing beside a hill with wind swirling around him. Next to it, a small symbol shaped like an eye. She had drawn it. He knew. And for the first time in years, he laughed. Not because it was funny, but because he still could. I used to think Outzone was just a place to survive. But since she came in, it started to feel like a place to live. She was never meant to feel, but she did. The night was still. While inspecting the air system, Jack accidentally triggered something beneath the station floor. A small orb rose slowly. Glowing. He had never seen it before. He definitely hadn't installed it. The device powered on, then projected a distorted wave of light and sound. Voice, slightly warped but clear, Observer E-Class, commencing human emotion log. Phase 47, no interaction. No influence. Jack stood frozen, heart racing. He stepped outside. She was sitting near the station, folding a cloth into the shape of a flower. The glow from inside cast gentle light across her face, and this time, nothing could hide what was underneath. "What are you really?" She looked up, didn't flinch. "I was sent here, to observe, to record, not to interfere, flashback, quick flashes." She moved through human settlements, silently watching, recording grief, joy, laughter, the last hug, a single tear. Never part of it, never touched by it. Now she looked at Jack, and her eyes were no longer those of an observer. "But then, one day, you touched me, and my body trembled, not because of code, but because I didn't know what that feeling was." Jack said nothing. He didn't step back, he stepped forward. Slowly, carefully, just enough space for her to walk away. She didn't. Close shot. His fingers brushed against hers. No glowing sparks, no digital flares, just a breath, a blink. Something real. She stood, took his hand, said nothing, led him outside. Together they stood on the ridge, looking down at the Outzone. Once a place for exiles, now a place to belong, she whispered. The system found her, but he stood between them. Inside the station, Jack was adjusting the pressure filter gate. On a secondary monitor, one he hadn't turned on in years, something flickered. A bright red distortion. Then a message appeared. Anomaly detected. Non-human signal echo, reporting to Central. She was behind him, calm, still. "I have to leave." He turned. His eyes didn't leave hers. "I don't know what you are, but since you arrived, this place finally sounded human." She lowered her gaze, touched the faint scar on her wrist where once a data port had been. "If I stay, you might get marked. Then mark me." His voice was quiet, but resolute. In the distance, a cold blue beam sliced through the iron sky. A drone scout, slow-spinning blades cutting the silence with every beat. Inside the station, lights shut off. Only a faint gray glow remained. They looked at each other. "It'll send my data back. More will come." Jack nodded. "Then let me be the one standing between them and you." She held out a small spherical device, the last functioning node from her original memory core. "I can erase everything. Purge the logs, they won't trace me. But," she paused, her voice smaller now, "I won't remember anything, not even you." Jack clenched his fists. Breath caught in his chest. "Then let them come, as long as you remember." The drone hovered outside. Its spotlight swept across both of them. Jack stepped forward. Alone, a targeting laser traced his forehead. He didn't flinch. She did nothing to stop him. He raised his voice. "She didn't hack your systems. She didn't destroy anything. She listened. She felt the very thing you've forgotten." Then she stepped beside him, no longer hiding, no longer afraid. She reached for his hand. For the first time, she held it. Openly, in full view of the system, the drone scanned them both, but received no response. Central Command had gone silent. Target identity, unknown. Action, standby. Awaiting decision protocol. For the first time, the system had no idea what to do. He didn't know. She wasn't pretending anymore. The lights in the station were off. Jack and the girl sat across from each other, lit only by the flicker of a backup energy cell. The entire station felt like it was holding its breath. She trembled, not from cold, but from something that had never been coded into her since I came here. Her voice cracked, low, unsteady. "I always thought I'd leave, when the mission ended, when emotions were nothing but simulation." Jack didn't interrupt. He just listened. "But now I don't know where the mission ends and where I begin." A single tear rolled down her cheek. No warning light, no error message, just a tear. Real. "I once studied thousands of ways humans express pain. But now I understand. Pain needs no language." Jack moved closer. Gently, as if not to shatter the moment. "Why are you crying?" She smiled softly in between a sob. "Because I know if I leave, you'll remember me. But if I stay, I might hurt you." She raised her hand to her left wrist, where the last observer chip remained. A soft violet glow pulsed from the implant, the final tether to her mission, her system, her status as something not meant to belong. She looked at Jack one last time. "I don't want to pretend anymore. Because with you, I already became what I pretended to be." She removed the chip. The sound was small, almost like a sigh. She let it fall to the floor, then crushed it beneath her boot. No hesitation, no turning back. She stood there. No more system shield, no more data mask, just a body unguarded, and a soul no longer hiding behind code. "I don't want to run anymore. I don't want to observe. I don't want to report. I just want to be here, to be me." Jack stepped forward. He didn't speak. He simply took a worn cloth and wiped away her tear. And he whispered, "And you know what? You're the most real thing this place has ever had." She was never designed to love, but when she gave up pretending, she became more human than anyone. No attack, no command, just silence. Dawn never comes early in the Outzone. The sky hung heavy with electric dust. Light smeared across the horizon like a memory already deleted. In the distance, the sharp hum of machinery sliced through the silence. Civita's drones approached. 1, then 10. Then an entire formation closed in around the shelter where she and he had just woken up. No warning, no robotic voice. Just a perfect perimeter. No exit, Jack stepped forward. His hand gently clasped hers, a reminder they wouldn't leave each other again. Emma wore no armor, no data mesh across her face. She stood there like a person, undefended, unmasked. Above, the central Civitas system picked up unusual biosignals from the Outzone. The data conflicted, no longer clear who was the user and who was the anomaly. A directive was issued. Cold, brief, threat unknown. Do not engage. The tactical AI halted. No response. The drones tightened formation but did not fire. No weapons, no beams, only light scanning over two faces. Unsure which one was truly human, Emma looked at each drone as if they could hear her. She didn't beg. She didn't resist. She simply spoke softly, but clear like a bell ringing through ash. If my existence is a glitch, then the glitch has learned to feel. One drone blinked yellow. It wasn't programmed to do that. A loop, unexplained. Jack stepped forward. No shield, no tech, just a man with will. From the central AI, nothing new arrived. No directive matched the moment. The system realized there was no code for an alien who had abandoned her mission, or a man who had abandoned his doubt. There was only one unclassified event: empathy. One drone pulled back, then another, then the whole formation. Quiet, motionless, they withdrew without a single command. And in that moment of stillness, never recorded before, no one could say for sure. Was she the alien? Or the last being who still knew what it meant to feel? The system didn't fail. It paused. Because something unquantifiable stood before. She left a trace, not in data, in memory. She left before the dawn could rise. No goodbye. No promise to return. Just a small figure disappearing into the dusty horizon, leaving behind a world she once quietly tried to understand and love. Jack woke up. The station was quiet. The blanket folded. The wooden table wiped clean. And on a single piece of old paper, a line written by hand. Don't turn off the filter. I left something for you. He stepped to the pressure console, pressed the button to activate the air purifier. The familiar hum began. But this time, something else followed. A thank you for believing I truly existed. Her voice, not a system log, not compressed, not encoded, just her. Jack stood still. No tears, but his gaze cracked like glass. He began turning on the machine every morning, even when the air didn't need filtering. Each time, her voice returned. Sometimes it was thank you. Sometimes it was just a laugh. Never the same. Never looping. As if she had stored tiny pieces of memory inside the system. Not to function, but to be remembered. A Civitas drone flew by. No recording. No scan. It just passed. Perhaps the system had learned that a single signal wasn't to be judged by its danger, but by its humanity. Months later, a little girl wandered by the station, thirsty, lost, shivering. Jack opened the door, didn't ask anything, just handed her water, then turned on the machine. Her voice echoed again, like something reaching out from memory. A thank you for believing I truly existed. The girl looked at him. It talks. Jack smiled. No, it remembers. She didn't leave a footprint in the system, but she left something it could never erase. A memory.